Hello and happy Oscar Sunday to those who celebrate. It's me, Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and to avoid our nearly hour-long short film the other day, we're just gonna get straight into it. We're gonna do exactly as the title of this video says. We are tier ranking several Oscar categories, including Best Picture, the acting categories, the writing categories, and the directing category. And at the end of every single category that I rank, I'm also gonna share who I think will win, but also who I think should win. So let's get right into it. But before we get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to Movie Palette for sponsoring this video. So you guys know, obviously, color is a huge aspect of storytelling, especially when it comes to film and television. So what Movie Palette does is they create really cool, unique canvas art based on your favorite movie or favorite TV show. So the way it works is they take each individual frame of any given movie, and then their digital artists will use some sort of technology to determine what the dominant color was in every scene. And then from there, they'll organize every stripe in chronological order. And what's really cool is the width of each stripe matches and corresponds to the length of that given scene. So at the end of the day, what you're basically getting is artwork that tells the unique color story of your favorite movie or TV show. They have all different kinds of movies on their website, like Parasite, La La Land, The Sound of Music, Avatar, Mean Girls, The Lion King, and a whole bunch of others on their website. Now, let's say maybe your favorite movie isn't online. What you can always do is just request for your movie to get made into a movie palette. They can do that as well. Even though this video is Oscar related and I just watched a ton of movies to make this video, deep down, I'm a TV gal. They have TV shows on their website as well. So if you're a fan of Euphoria, or Wednesday, maybe Bridgerton, Stranger Things, Heartstopper, they have movie palettes for those shows. And just like with the movies, if they don't have your TV show, you can always request for your TV show to get made as well, which is exactly what I did. Even though this show literally had one of the worst series finales of all time, I'd still say at the end of the day, it's one of my favorite shows ever. And because of that, I requested to get season 2 of Killing Eve made into my own movie palette, because that, in hindsight, is my favorite season of the show, and I just know the color story of every episode from that season is going to look so good. Like, I have faith. Because I'm in the Philippines though, I technically don't have that movie palette with me right now. It's literally in a box at my aunt's house in California. So when I do go back in a couple of months, eventually I will share what that movie palette looks like with you in a future video. But again, I have faith that it turned out really good, unlike the series finale of Killing Eve.
No.
But in the meantime, if you're interested in ordering your own movie palette, you can use my code HUMBLE15 to get a 15% discount off of your order. And if you guys do use the discount, please take a picture of it and tag me in it on social media, because I am genuinely interested to know what these different movie palettes look like, especially the ones that aren't on Movie Palette's actual website. So again, the code is HUMBLE15 for a 15% discount. And once again, thank you so much to Movie Palette for sponsoring this video. All right, let's do the acting categories first. So let's do, ladies first, Best Supporting Actress. Ooh, okay, and just to let you know, when I'm tier ranking, I'm doing it based on what my favorite performance was in each category. So this is from least to most favorite. Okay. My least favorite in this bunch. I'm gonna do Jamie Lee Curtis as my least. Great job for doing those fight scenes with Michelle Yeoh, but my least fave. Fourth, I will say, I don't know, maybe a bit controversial, but then again, it's hard when you have these 5 ladies together in a category, but I'm gonna say fourth is Hong Chow for The Whale. 3, looking at Angela and she's like this. Oh my god, and we're both wearing purple. Wow. 3. I'm gonna give it to Carrie Condon in Banshees as my 3rd favorite. Her character felt very much like Belle from Beauty and the Beast to me, because she's like an intellect, not afraid to speak her mind. And I really loved that yellow jacket moment that she had at the end. My 2nd favorite performance in the Best Supporting Actress category is Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever. You know what is really funny is when I first watched the original Black Panther movie, the first one, I remember like one of my notes in my head was, man, I wish we got more Angela Bassett. And even though it sort of like happened due to unfortunate circumstances, I am happy that we saw more of her character in the 2nd movie, even though she died. And then I said this in my previous short film movie marathon video, but my favorite performance in this category is Stephanie Hsu in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And who I think should win is Stephanie. I stand firmly by that. I think Stephanie should win, but who I think will win, you know, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the awards season prognosticators are now saying it's Carrie Condon because she won at the BAFTA, but I don't know. I feel like maybe Angela Bassett can do it. That's a retroactive Oscar for her in light of what's love got to do with it. So there we go. Okay, next. We really do not want this to be a long video. So let's do Best Supporting Actor now. Okay, from my least favorite to most favorite in the category. Ooh. Gosh, this is hard. I'm gonna go 5th is Brian Tyree Henry. I really loved his character in Causeway because he had such a warm presence in the movie. Shout out to Al. We were talking about how much we love quiet movies the other day. But 4th would be Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans. Even though he wasn't in the movie for that long, he just had such a feisty presence in the movie. So he's 4th for me. 3rd, Brendan Gleeson. I know that's wrong because he would arguably be the 2nd most lead in that movie. Just personal taste. And then 2nd would be Barry Keoghan or Barry Keoghan. It's just because like his character is so lovable in that movie and he has a lot of heart, much like my number 1 in the category. I actually feel like in an alternate universe, like if all of the characters in these movies were to like meet each other, Barry Keoghan's character in Banshees, Colin Farrell's character in Banshees, and Ke Huy Quan's character in Everything Everywhere, they would like all be friends. So my favorite is Ke Huy Quan in Everything Everywhere. I think something that people kind of overlook is the martial arts aspect of Everything Everywhere between him and Michelle Yeoh. That should be an additional tick in the argument for why their performance was like fantastic. Like it's not just emotional acting and like obviously acting is physical as well, but that is like an added layer to wow. That is just an added layer to their performance. Like much like how we say, oh my gosh, that person sang and danced in the movie. Like these people performed martial arts in their movies. So 5 through 1 would be, just to recap, Brian Tyree Henry, 5. 4, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans. 3, Brendan Gleeson for Banshees. 2, Barry Keoghan for Banshees. And 1, Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere. Who I think should win is Ke Huy Quan, and who I think will win is Ke Huy Quan, because not only was he great in the movie, there is a career and personal narrative that people can root for, and he has pretty much, like, I think except for BAFTA and maybe a couple of the critics circles, he's pretty much swept award season. So that would be a huge upset, oh my god, if he does not win at the Oscars, but fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Best Actress. Ooh. Okay, my least favorite performance in the bunch is Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. I know a lot of people were saying like she should have been in a Best Supporting. Had she been in Best Supporting, she probably would be sweeping. But even with that being said, I think her performance was fine, but it wasn't like, wow. So yeah, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. 4, I would say Ana de Armas. Even though the movie looked good, and like she actually did a pretty decent job, I just feel like the degradation of Marilyn Monroe still outweighs the performance for me. The first time I tried watching that movie, her accent didn't really bother me, but I think over time as the movie progresses, the accent starts to get a little distracting. So 3 would be Andrea Riseborough into Leslie. Thought she was great, loved that. 2 would be, ooh, my gosh, this is the ultimate showdown, isn't it? 2 is gonna be Cate Blanchett for me. She's phenomenal as Lydia Tarr in Tar. A lot of people have said like this is the performance of her career, but my heart still is with Michelle Yeoh and Everything Everywhere. I think aside from the martial arts aspect to her role, she literally again was traveling through different dimensions as the same person, but also not as the same person. That's really impressive. This is my ranking. 5, Michelle Williams. 4, Ana de Armas. 3, Andrea Riseborough. 2, Cate Blanchett. And at number 1 is Michelle Yeoh, who I think should win is Michelle Yeoh. It genuinely does not work without her. Who I think will win? The cynic in me says it's gonna be Cate Blanchett. And I honestly wouldn't be mad if Cate Blanchett won because, again, her performance is great. But the optimist in me thinks Michelle Yeoh should win. I just feel like she has a lot of momentum right now. This genuinely feels like a Michelle Yeoh moment, and it would be such a missed opportunity for them to give Michelle Yeoh an Oscar for this performance. You know what I mean? Like this just feels career making and defining for her. So I will settle on Michelle Yeoh, who I think will win. Fingers crossed. Next is Best Actor. Best Actor. Okay, Bill Nighy at 5. Paul Mescal at 4. Those 2 movies, you know, Living and After Sun, they're like the least showy of the bunch. So, you know, 3 for me would be... 3 is gonna be Austin Butler. 2 is gonna be Brendan Fraser, and 1 is gonna be Colin Farrell. I know that's wild. I know that's crazy. I feel like the thing is, Brendan and Austin Butler transform physically in a very obvious way, and because of that, I think that's the reason why people are putting them as the front runners and why people have been voting for them and why they're obvious choices in the category. But I don't know, there's just something about the way Colin Farrell portrayed the emotion on his face, like in Banshees, when he really starts to understand, oh my goodness, my best friend doesn't want anything to do with me. Like his face is just so heartbreaking. Those eyebrows are so expressive. So he's my favorite. He's my favorite. So who I think should win though is Brendan Fraser, but who I think will win is Austin Butler. I don't know, I just have a sinking feeling it's gonna be him. So let's move on to the writing category. So let's do Best Adapted Screenplay. Okay, my least favorite. Ooh. I'm just gonna put Living at 5 because I do think the pace of that movie was a bit slow for me, so that's 5. 4, I'm gonna go All Quiet for 4. 3, I'm gonna do Top Gun, because I do think that was a fantastic sequel. I believe Top Gun Maverick was better than the original, which is hard to do, so they're 3 for me. 2 is Glass Onion, because I just thought the story was very entertaining. And 1 is Women Talking, because I just think there's a lot of poignant dialogue in that movie. My ranking is 5, Living, 4, All Quiet on the Western Front, 3, Top Gun Maverick, 2, Glass Onion, and 1, Women Talking. Who I think should win is Women Talking, and who I think will win is Women Talking. Best Original Screenplay. Okay, so we have Tar, Triangle of Sadness, Everything Everywhere, All at Once, Fabelmans, and Banshees. Ooh. 5, I'm gonna go Fabelmans. 4, ooh, this It's tricky. 4, I'm gonna actually go Triangle of Sadness. 3, I'm gonna go Tar. 2, I'm gonna go Banshees. And 1, I'm gonna go Everything Everywhere. So my reasoning for this is 5, Fabelmans, is because that's such a personal story to Steven Spielberg. So I do appreciate that. I respect it. Thank you for sharing your trauma with us. It's a coming of age story. And I think the thing that makes it stand out is the fact that we know it's largely based off of him. I don't necessarily think the story was that original. 4, Triangle of Sadness, fun story, but it's another eat the rich kind of story, which is very popular right now. I don't necessarily think that's that original, but there was great dialogue and scenes in the movie. I especially really liked the first act. All of that tension and conversation between the couple in Act 1, wow. 3, I have Tar. The dialogue is really good and there are some standout lines in that movie. So yes. 2 is Banshees for me because it tonally had a really nice balance between like dramatic moments but also like genuinely funny moments as well. And I think it's like kind of rare that we see a movie about male friendships, let alone a male friendship breakup of sorts. It dealt with really big themes of like loneliness and existentialism. So yeah, number 2. Number 1 is Everything Everywhere because I genuinely think it's such an original story. I can't even think of another movie that is comparable to it. It's just genuinely such an original story. Who I think should win is Everything Everywhere. Who I think will win is Everything Everywhere. But if there were to be an upset, I think Banshees would probably be it. And now we get into Best Directing nominees. Ooh, okay, so we have Martin McDonagh for Banshees, Todd Field for Tar, Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, and the Daniels for Everything Everywhere. Wow, okay, 5 I think is gonna be Martin McDonagh. I just think in comparison to the other directors, they have like a stronger point of view. 4 for me would be, oh my gosh. Am I really doing this? Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm committing a sin. Okay, 4 is Steven Spielberg for me. It's hard because he's Steven Spielberg and he has such iconic movies. You can't help but compare whatever movie he just made to the other ones. And I do think there are other Steven Spielberg movies that are more superior in their directing technique and abilities. So yeah, just 4 for me is Fabelmans. 3 would be Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. And then 2 for me would be Todd Field. There's a clear point of view. 1 is the Daniels for me because what they did with Everything Everywhere, it's just like unlike anything I've seen really. Not only do they have a very clear point of view in their storytelling, but I love that when the movie was traveling through different dimensions, you could see the influences that they were pulling from. So it was like great homages to different genres of film. And the fact that they were able to do that in one movie just shows their range and their skill set. So who I think should win is the Daniels and who I think will win is the Daniels. All right, and now we get to the biggie, the Best Picture nominees. Okay, so we have 10. Avatar 2, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front, Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking, Everything Everywhere, Elvis, Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, and Banshee. So again, reminder, this is just my least favorite to most favorite. My least favorite of the Best Picture nominees that I watched, I feel so bad for doing this. I'm gonna go with Women Talking, just because it's a quiet movie. Like I said earlier, I do like quiet movies. I just think in comparison to the other ones, I think it's the weakest for me. Although I do commend Sarah Polley for being able to shoot a visually interesting movie despite the fact that for most of it they are confined in a barn. But yeah, just my least favorite of the Best Picture nominees. Controversial. Next, 9 is Avatar 2. First of all, I don't think It helped that the copy that I watched was like a literal bootleg. Sorry, James Cameron, if you're watching this. Maybe I would feel differently if I watched this in a movie theater. Like, you know why I'm also taking off major points? It's because it's over 3 hours long. So yeah, Avatar 2 is number 9 for me. 8 would be, I think, oh God, I feel so bad for doing this. 8 would be The Fabelmans, because as cool as it was to see like Steven Spielberg tell his own coming of age story, essentially, I think the parts of the movie that I was kind of like, okay, were all of this stuff having to do with him being bullied. Not to say that like it's not important that he was bullied and you know that was such a pivotal event in his life, but I'm not in like the headspace for these like high school-y kind of storylines. The parts of the movie that I found like really compelling were when he was using film to figure out what this complicated family dynamic was. But yeah, I don't know. It's my 8th favorite. 7 would be All Quiet on the Western Front. Really well shot. 6 would be Elvis. It was fun. Elvis was fun. 5 would be, this is tricky for me. 5, I'm gonna go Tar. Cate Blanchett, amazing girl, you did that. The dark cloud and mystery that you were trying to figure out, what did Lydia Tar do? That was fun. And I definitely felt a bit on edge while watching it, so that was like a fun movie-going experience. But again, just in comparison to the other movies, I would have it at 5. 4, Triangle of Sadness. Man, Dolly De Leon was such a hoot in that movie. Never in a million years would I have thought a Filipino woman, especially of her age, not to be ageist, but I just think it's like kind of rare that you get to see a woman of that age, an Asian woman of that age, play that kind of character. So that was just like really fun and entertaining to see. 3, isn't it amazing that Top Gun Maverick has made it so high up on my list? 3, I have Top Gun Maverick. I think the reason why it's so high is because I just had such a fun time watching this movie. I remember when it first came out and everyone was obsessed with it. Everyone kept saying like, it just feels like a movie, like an old school movie. Like it just feels like a movie. Right, Harry Styles?
My favorite thing about the movie is like, it feels like a movie. It feels like a real, like, you know, go to the theater film movie.
But yeah, it was just really entertaining. And maybe part of the reason why I have it so high is because like going into it, I was kind of dreading it and I was like, oh God, I don't think I'm gonna really like this movie. Like I think the fact that I had the bar set so low for me, it just had no choice but to exceed my low expectations. But yeah, 2 is Banshees for me. I love the Banshees of Inisherin. Like, I love that movie so much. No Notes. Love it. Oh my God. And then 1 is like the rest of the people who are on the right side of history. I'm just kidding. But 1, like mostly everyone would say, is Everything Everywhere, because that movie was just, it was so unique. I think, you know, in hindsight, looking at my top 5 movies, those are the movies where the experience of watching it was memorable to me for different reasons. Like I felt different emotions while watching each of these movies, but they really felt like experiences. So I think that's why Tar, Triangle of Sadness, Top Gun Maverick, Banshees, and Everything Everywhere are my top 5.
It feels like a movie.
Who I think should win is Everything Everywhere, and who I think will win is Everything Everywhere, because this just feels like an Everything Everywhere moment. That movie is just genuinely good. I feel like it is so original and it is like pushing cinema and what kind of stories that we see being portrayed in mainstream media. Like it's moving it forward, and that's what a Best Picture winner should be doing. But to recap, at number 10, I have Women Talking. Number 9, Avatar: The Way of Water. 8, The Fabelmans. 7, All Quiet on the Western Front. 6, Elvis. 5, Tar. 4, Triangle of Sadness. 3, Top Gun Maverick. 2, Banshees. And 1, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And another reason why it just came to me while I was doing this countdown, another reason why I think it would be so pivotal and important if Everything Everywhere All at Once wins is 1, Asian representation, love that, but 2, in this era where we are just in a reboot and sequel, prequel, spin-off kind of world, like this is actually an original idea. What a statement. What a statement for a movie that is actually an original idea to win. And like, you know, the thing is too, is we are also living in an era where superhero movies are just like arguably oversaturating the market. Yet, how cool is it that this everyday woman, this like Chinese immigrant woman, she is the hero in this movie. She's not like what we would typically think of as a superhero because like they have, you know, special powers and strengths and skills. I mean, I guess she does in Everything Everywhere, like the fact that she can travel through these like multiple dimensions, but just who Evelyn Wong is and who she like represents. She's an underdog and someone who would be overlooked in society, but at the same time, like she is a hero. And I think that's just so poignant. So, oh my God, I really hope the Academy does not mess it up in a couple of hours. All right, well, with that foreboding note, that about ends this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below on your predictions for the Oscars. That's about it for this video. As always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh. I think I got bit by a bug while I was doing this. My hand is suddenly very itchy. I need to get off this floor.